Hello, my name is Miro, and these are my teammates, Tom and NJ. Tonight we will be discussing an article by Gary Gennard called Leveraging the Power of Nonverbal Communications. I will do the introduction tonight and briefly talk about the nonverbal and verbal communications and how they're similar and how they work together. And vocal dynamics will be covered by Andre, and also gestures and facial expressions. And John will talk about visual thinking, and then we'll have a quiz at the end of the presentation. So verbal and nonverbal communication. What are the differences and similarities between verbal and nonverbal communication? They are both important in human interaction, and they play an important role in how we communicate with each other, how we interact with each other. They are interconnected and operate together in communication. Verbal is pretty much mostly has to do with what we actually say or the words that are coming out of our mouth, while nonverbal is mostly what our actions and body language says about or what our body language and actions say to the audience. And nonverbal is pretty much the biggest and most important part of communication, just because a lot of times it's more important what our body says or our expressions than what the words say that we actually say. Verbal nonverbal communication also shows the listeners that we care or that we don't care about a certain topic or about what we're talking about. And usually, a lot of times, the body language and our actions and our words that we're saying usually have to match it. So there are three areas, or nonverbal communication is pretty much communication without words, or the movement, our eye contact, tone of voice, appearance, like even the clothes that a presenter is wearing can tell a lot about him. And they're used to increase a person's credibility and trustworthiness, and they make decisions about people's honesty and trustworthiness, help us make these comments. So there are three key areas of nonverbal communication, and they are vocal dynamics, visual thinking, and gestures and facial expressions. These areas of nonverbal communication help us reinforce messages we want to convey. The vocal dynamics are speaking techniques that are used to keep audiences engaged. Visual thinking, they incorporate visual awareness and physical command into a presentation. Gestures and facial expressions are essential components of who we are as communicators. Now, Anje and Tom will give us more details about these three areas of nonverbal communication.
All right. So, vocal dynamics is a type of speaking technique used to keep audience attentive, engaged, thoroughly informed, and persuaded, just like Miroslav said earlier. It usually means how loud or how soft the speaker uses their voice to emphasize their speaking points. It's also called vocal expressiveness. And when speaking to an audience, speakers must pay close attention to the four important tools of vocal delivery, which are emphasis, pitch variety, pacing, and rhythm. These tools can be explained more in detail from the 5 key tools of vocal dynamics below, which are energy and emphasis, pitch inflection, rhythm and pace, the power of silence, and vocal quality. Emphasis is the stress you place on important ideas, but with that, you also need enough energy so that your voice encompasses your audience. Whenever you vary the pitch in your voice, it adds color and excitement to what you're saying. For the rhythm and pace, audiences need a varied pace to stay interested. let's say if the speaker is speaking way too fast, the audience might not be able to keep up, and they can lose interest and just not pay attention. Or if the speaker is speaking too slow or going too slow, and same thing can happen, and the audience can just get distracted with something else. The speaker has to find a sweet spot in the rhythm and the pace so everything flows smoothly. And for the power of silence, when a speaker pauses, it's a great way to create suspense and to emphasize their ideas, as well as transition between their points. And for vocal quality, this includes like the tone, the richness, and the pleasantness of a person's voice. So your audience wants a voice that not only informs them, but also makes listening to them more enjoyable and memorable. And now I'll be talking about gestures and facial expressions. Having well-defined, strong, and non-repetitive gestures are essential components of who you are as a communicator. Speakers should use gestures to express the fullness of their commitment to the ideas and emotions inherent to their speech. And also your facial expressions show more of what you're thinking and feeling than what your gestures do. And now I'll hand it off to talk about visual thinking.
Hi everyone, my name is Tom and now I will talk about visual thinking. As my teammates have discussed with you about vocal dynamic, facial expression and gestures, I will explain to you more how these things will play an important role in your interaction with the audience. Vocal dynamic, facial expression and gestures, they are all non-verbal communication heroes and they are part of a process which is called visual thinking. Visual thinking is the way that you think to help you visualize or help your audience to visualize your presentation using the digital or visual components and the physical expression effectively. As you guys should have known by now, we are living in a modern technology age, which means you guys have all kinds of digital supporting tools such as Microsoft Office, Microsoft PowerPoint, YouTube clips, Google Image, all kind of media generated stuff that can help you to improve and visualize your presentation better. But the important thing is those are just the tools or the backgrounds or the stage where you can carry on yourself, where you can perform the performance, and where you can relate yourself to the audience presence. So how can you use your visual expression effectively? According to our reading, a good presenter or a good leader can always or can easily to command the space around him or her. So what does it mean to command the space around you? It means like you can expand your movement freely and feeling comfortable to connect with your audience, as I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to move boldly and decisively back and round. And that is what you should do when you give a presentation. Don't just sit alone. And you should also welcome your audience to your work using your hand gesture, like an open palm. And sometimes the presenter will use like just your finger to point stuff in the screen, and this is not polite way to visualize your screen. In contrast with a good example in presenting your presentation physically, there's some bad example. They are noting repeatedly when you are meeting or you are in a QA sessions. It means like you are trying to say you are not patient person. Because if you just keep noting repeatedly, it means like you accept everything they're trying to say and you just want to get out of the meeting as soon as possible. Another thing is taking a hunch over or using a depressive poster like this is showing that you are not comfortable giving a speech or you are not comfortable in a meeting. You don't like what you are hearing. You don't like what you are hearing. The last bad example is using overly and large movement. Sometimes it makes you feel comfortable, but it will reduce your image as a confident presenter. So, in short and in the end, I think just trying to maintain your eye contact, trying to combine both of your digital pictures and your gesture properly. That way you can give a good presentation. So that will conclude our presentation. And if you guys have any more questions.
Okay, would one of you read the quiz questions, please? Everybody?
Okay, so question number 1 is, nonverbal communication can blank the speaker's ability and blank. Number 2 is blank area of nonverbal communication, incorporating visual awareness and physical command of your presentation. Number 3, blank and blank are essential components of who you are as a communicator. Number 4, list at least 2 key tools of vocal dynamics. And number 5, give 2 examples of bad physical expressions.